more about the company, to learn more about Great Safaris, learn about Africa and what it has to offer. And so let's just start travel to Africa. So first of all, I'm Gil, and for those that are acquainted with South Africa might have picked up my accent. Yes, I was born and raised there. I grew up in Africa. I worked there for a few years in the tourism and conservation before I joined the Great Safaris teams as the business development manager. And so I have the lovely job to talk about the beautiful continent and everything related to it, its wildlife, its culture, and alike. So let me tell you a bit more about Great Safaris. So we believe in enriching life experiences. That's truly what Great Safari stands for. We are a B2B tour operator. We're in California. I myself am based in Orlando, Florida. So we've got West Coast as well as East Coast. I do spend a bit of time in the Midwest as well. And our core focus is customized safaris. So even if you do visit our website, you will see we have plenty of programs and packages. We always say those are good indicators as to what you can do, but it should also be used as a guideline. And when you do have a client or you intend to have a group presentation, we customize itineraries for you and your clients. And we specialize in Africa only. We say Africa is big enough. We don't have to try and sell the world. And Africa is so beautiful. No need for that. We have personnel in the country that is very important, because if something goes wrong, there are people in the same time zone to deal with the issue immediately. And it's not a matter of when you wake up, you say, oh my goodness, what happened yesterday? And let's try to fix it. You want to wake up and say, there was a problem, resolved, and the clients are having a ball of a time. And that's a huge, huge difference maker. It is super personalized to the extent we assist with branding. We can send documentation, final docs on your behalf to clients with your branding. We can send it to you if you wish. And so it's, as I said, everything is customized and it's well-priced luxury. There's no such thing that Africa is inaccessible. You can go for affordable price points, or you can go splash money as you wish. It's up to your clients. But Africa is not that expensive as most people would think it is. And different consortia have different criteria, and we cater for all. So that is important to be aware of. And then most important, you have a team. All our booking agents are fully trained. They've been to Africa multiple times. Therefore, they understand the destination. They understand the expectation of the client, and they're there to help you through the journey of the booking. Africa is an emotional experience for many families and friends, and therefore it is so uniquely done. And we put up three-way conference calls. We can put up Zoom support. I do it quite often, at least twice a week, where I work with travel advisors to launch specific itineraries, specific programs for her or she clientele. And I'm just thinking now, there's one or two pending in my mind as I speak. And that's wonderful, because we work together, putting it all together. And then the turnout usually is very, very good. And for the record, also there, we do pay a 15% commission on all land arrangements. Now, I do know many questions I get being asked lately. Are we doing air? The short answer is yes. I like to split air in two: international air and domestic regional air. So domestic regional would be now in the continent itself, Africa. But as for the international air, the answer is yes, we can do it if you wish. If you wish to do it yourself, that's your choice. So I just thought to preempt the question, since I've been asked quite a lot. And then I'm sure you're familiar with USTOA, United States Tour Operator Association. We part thereof, and it's a good reference point. So lots about Great Safaris, and hopefully it gives you some comfort who you are dealing with as the real specialist to Africa. And given the current circumstances, we thought it well to share a couple of issues that is important. those that went through the pandemic, those that's new. These are issues that we think you should be aware of, and also what we did. We're part of Tour Care, we're part of Safe Travels. That is to ensure that your clients arrive at the destination that adhere to all the sanitary, the health, and the other requirements. So rest assured that side has been covered. The other part that is quite important is vet the suppliers. That's something we did quite extensively during the pandemic. Some suppliers didn't make it. And if they can't make it, your money is at risk. So what we say is we guarantee your client's deposit. So because we vet the suppliers, they're not going to disappear and run away. And so again, that should give you peace of mind as to you work with a reputable company underwritten by USTOA, and we check the lodges, we check the suppliers and the service providers. And so the other question lately is, how do we see the industry recover? That's a relevant question to ask. We like to go and ring fence this COVID now and say, okay, we're going to look to the future. We are seeing a bright future. What we also see is people start to expand their portfolio to Africa, and that's wonderful news. And so in stats, this is what we see. This is based on consumer data. We work with a couple of companies. This is not what we think. This is based on statistics. But as for the remainder of this year, we look at about 30%. Next year, 60 to 70. 23, we anticipate huge numbers, huge numbers. And that's a good thing. I recently heard the word revenge travel. I smiled when I heard that, and I say, please explain. And the lady explained, you know, I couldn't travel. I want to take revenge. So I call it revenge travel. I just laughed. I thought it was very funny. But the point is, people are eager to travel very soon. Now, the purpose of this slide is exactly what it is. You know, when zebra gather together, it's very confusing. You cannot identify an individual animal, and they use that to confuse the predator, like lions. And the message in this slide is, people ask questions, what is the situation today? The situation today is only relevant if you have clients that travels tomorrow. It's very fluid. It's very fluid. Things have changed. Even from drafting this presentation to actual presentation, things have changed. And so rest assured, when you work with Great Safaris, we are on top of all the changes. It's very encouraging to see, for example, Uganda, that if you have the full vaccination, that it's no need for testing on site. So there are positive steps in some countries, and we hope other countries in Africa would follow suit to make travel more easier, especially as Africa is a growing market at the moment. So let's take a moment for 2021. The question is, should we travel in 21? And if we do travel, what can we expect? This is our advice for this year going forward. There's a small window that gives you this privacy and exclusivity. So that's a plus, that's a good thing. That being said, your client needs to be a seasoned traveler. There are many unforeseens happening. We had a case last week. I always say a real example is your best example. Clients were about to get on the plane when we heard Zambia flights have been cancelled. They asked, what should they do? We said, get on the plane, we'll get it resolved. When you arrive, it will be sorted out. They received a significant upgrade. We moved them around. They are over the moon. They have a wonderful time. So the point is, yes, there are some pros, there are some cons. Be aware. On availability, as I mentioned before, 23, be mindful. It's not a bad thing. It only means book well in advance. That would be anything from 7 up to 12 months in some instances. If you have a client that wants to travel in 21, keep your client in one country. Avoid cross-border. Only Kenya or only Tanzania. Do not mix countries. It just complicates things unnecessarily. So that's highly recommendable for 21. And then secondly, if they are going to be in one country, one destination, safari a little bit slower and encourage them to do unique activities. Of course, there are so much, this is in the Okavango Delta, and not a lot of people know that you can go horseback in the Delta. This is one of many examples to consider. And lastly, is that private vehicles, reduce passengers, and limit lodge capacity. Those are all pluses. That means your client will get a more private, exclusive experience. Even inside, outside the pandemic, we always strive for the most exclusive experience they can get. This is one of Singita properties. Those that are familiar with the brand Singita, highly recommended lodge to use in Africa. We are very excited about this. People say, where should they go? How should they do that? And how can they combine bucket list items? This map really says it all. As of late, we see a huge increase of a combination of Egypt and Kenya. Two big bucket lists, Egypt for history, Kenya for safari. People that's more on the wine culture, they do Kenya, Cape Town, Big Falls. That's another big hitter. And those that want to do Middle East, very easy to combine with the others, especially if you go using the Gulf carriers. So this is how you should think about safari, that Africa is big. Remember, it's about 4 times the size of the United States. So it's a very big continent. And this is helpful just to orientate your client and understand their expectations. So I'm going to work from north to south. And so let's jump in. So you're going to say Dubai, where does that fit in safari? This is exactly where it fits in. It's a very nice stopover en route to Africa. Can be a 2-day, 3-day overnight, depends on your client's time. And there are lovely activities to do in addition to your normal city activities that we're all familiar with. But I want to share with you a very interesting history, since we are so much focused on safari, is the phenomenal work done by the Phoenix Zoo that saved this species from extinction. And if you read there in your leisure time afterwards, I know it's been recorded, you will see that if they didn't step in, there was no more in the wild of this species. And this is one of the greatest conservation success stories ever. So if you have clients and you say, you want to stop in Dubai, this is another activity that complements a safari. Of course, for now, there's the Dubai Expo. It is a limited period of time. October this year, and it goes into March next year, only 6 months, never to be repeated. And they've built a whole city. It is phenomenal technology. I was there just before the pandemic, and it is really breathtaking what they've developed. So combining that with your trip or even a standalone, we do get a lot of inquiries, and that's why I thought to pop it in here. Those that loves food, that's the place to be. There will be 192 countries, so many food displays, and so another way to experience Dubai, so to speak. And to wrap up Dubai in a nutshell, we spoke about the safari, but it's the highest building in the world. You've got in the right top corner there, that would be the World Expo, and that's exactly how it looks. And then, of course, you can go in the souks and you can go in the boats. And there's a couple of fun activities to do. And again, as we say, it can be a short stopover, 2-3 days. If you only want to do the highlights, the classics, and then move on, or this can be almost a standalone for some travelers that just want to get out. And again, the Dubai World Expo is only there for 6 months from October, and it's a worthwhile event for your clients. Still staying in North Africa now for a moment is Egypt. This is what we call the classic highlights, that you will come to Cairo, you go on a cruise down in the Nile, and you see these along the way. It is important to comment that you'll have a private Egyptologist with your clients all the way. So from arrival to departure, that private Egyptologist will go with your clients. And that is very helpful because they explain much more than just the normal. But it's more than just the classics. It's also the recent discoveries there. This 5,000-year-old brewery, that's a phenomenal discovery. And those that follow the news, the recent discovery of ancient coffins that goes back to the age of the pyramids. And these are the type of stuff that you really want to see. And that's why Egypt is also a repeat destination, because nobody would have seen this 2 years ago. Now it's there. And that's very exciting that you can actually go and see that. And for those that's more adventurous, for your clients, there's the snorkeling. So suddenly this world opens up where you have history, you have culture, and now you have some adventure activities. So as the map shows, there's the Nile with all the highlights along the way, and then you can just end your holiday with snorkeling activities. That is the Blue Hole. That's a famous snorkeling destination, and can easily be incorporated in any of our Egypt programs. So that, moving now a little bit to East Africa, and I'm going to stop in Kenya here. That is Mount Kilimanjaro, and it's the highest freestanding mountain in Africa. In fact, I climbed that mountain a few years ago, and it's phenomenal. So if you have clients that's also as adventurous as I am, they can go climb the mountain. But other than that is the tourism. Tourism plays a big role in Kenya. And so those that have clients before might have faced this question: should you send your clients to Amboseli, or should they go to Samburu? It's two distinct areas in Kenya, and I indicated those on the map. The Masai Mara is always a must. You associate the Masai Mara with Kenya, so this would be complementary to the Masai Mara. We say if your client have the time, visit both. They are distinctly unique. Like the previous slide with Mount Kilimanjaro, that was Amboseli. But if you go to Samburu, you get different culture activities, you get different animals, few of those animals at the bottom there. So we say do both, if possible. Easily accessible by air or by road, so that's a non-issue. But if you face the question about time, there are other hotspots. You can stop in Nairobi, you can go to the Giraffe Center, you can go to the Elephant Orphanage shelter, Lake Nakuru, Lake Naivasha. Those are all destinations that's really high. It's either Samburu or it's Amboseli. We say if you can, do both. And this is the Great Migration. And people always ask the question, when should I go to see the Great Migration? I always say, well, you know, there are 2 million animals. Where do they go when they cross the river? It's not like they disappear, right? So if you want to see them cross the river in Kenya, you're going to be there in August and October. But if you want to see 5,000 babies being born every single day, then you want to be there in January, March, at South Serengeti in Tanzania. So it all depends what your client wants to see. But this does mean it's all year round. I always say, if you think about the Great Migration, think about the clock. It's all that it is. It's just a big clock, and they go round and round and round. And this particular lodge is Loisaba. It is located in Kenya, and so in the evening they will roll out the bed on the deck, and that's your bedroom. And I think they worded it so well. That's your bedroom. And of course, if it's rainy or windy or unpleasant weather, they come and roll you back in. And so it's a very personalized experience. It's a small boutique, quaint lodge, and it's called Loisaba. And what makes Loisaba so special is the interaction with wildlife. These are the painted dogs, also known as the African dog, and that's where you will see this. Unlikely you will see them in many other parks. 2 reasons. 1, they might not be there, and 2, they're very skittish. So you're not going to see them on your normal game drive, so to speak. And so again, Loisaba gives your client a different experience that is very unique. And then, of course, talking about uniqueness, your client can go on a camel on safari. Yes, they do have the standard game viewing vehicles that's open and you can have a look, but going on a camel just puts everything in such a unique way. It's activity that must be done. And then going down to Southern Africa for a moment. This is Cape Town. It's the mother city of Africa, or at least South Africa, and that's Table Mountain. And people love going to the Cape, and the reason being there's so much to do. There's honestly so much to do. Typically, people will stay 3 to 4 days in Cape Town, and they combine that with the winelands. As you can see on the left of the screen, Stellenbosch and Franschhoek, that's your winelands. 2 options. One, you can do a day journey out there and enjoy the winelands and have wonderful wine, and you come back to Cape Town, or your client can also go there and overnight in one of the 2. They're both beautiful, very historical. Of course, Table Mountain, that's a typical morning activity, and your guests will stay close to the waterfront. And the waterfront, lots of activities and nice places to hang out. That gives you an idea of the wine tram in Franschhoek. So how that works is fairly simple. People jump on, and the wine tram is also a tractor, and it's a bus. It's a couple of vehicles they use, quite fun. And they would visit up to 5 wine estates. And you taste and you do pairing. You can also do a private tour with a wine curator joining your clients for those that's really, really interested in wine. But that's some idea of the Franschhoek activity. And then, yeah, there are penguins in Africa. So when you go to Cape Point, on your way back to the hotel, you're going to stop at the place. It's called Boulders Beach. And you get so close to them, you can almost touch them. And they are phenomenal. And then at the bottom, we have Cape Point. That's your day trip. Some people say you can do it in a half day. We would not recommend that. A day trip is far more relaxed. People enjoy that. And that's where you can see the Atlantic Ocean meeting the Indian Ocean. And that's phenomenal. The Cape is known for its storms. That's why it's also called the Cape of Storms. And some people will say Cape of Good Hope, because that's where we find safe passage when we travel by ship many years ago. And like the Flying Dutchman, it stems from the Cape there. And then for those interested in history and more modern history and Mandela, this activity, usually an afternoon activity. Now you've been orientated in Cape Town, you can see from the waterfront the boat come across, and you can go to Robben Island, and I give you a tour of the history there. And so in the morning you do Table Mountain, the afternoon you would do Robben Island, the next day you do a full Cape Point, I just explained, and the following day you do your winelands, and as you can see, it suddenly stacks up to a 3-4 day time in Cape Town. Now we're going to wing up quickly to the Greater Kruger, and the map here just show you can either go Victoria Falls first, or you can go Kruger first. It's your client's choice, and what makes logistic sense for their itinerary. Yes, it's open game drying vehicles. Yes, you do get so close to lions and other predators, and no, they don't jump on the car. So those are important questions. People ask, is it safe? Do they attack people? Those are licensed guides, they're fully qualified. And if any animal would show unnatural behavior, they would not engage with that animal. Like in this photo, they would move on. So, but generally speaking, this is the type of experience that your client can expect when they go there. And there are different lodges and destinations, Sabi Sands and Kapama and Vonniebush, and there's quite a few lovely areas next to the Greater Kruger that offer different kind of activities, like the center photo with the cheetah looking at the camera. Yes, you can walk in the bush with guides, and you're going to encounter, or your client's going to encounter cheetah, wild animals like that. Private dinners, if there are honeymooners or it's a private event or a special day, we can organize that. So they have this private setting out there. And then in the evening, this is what they call a boma. Sit around the fire, you share stories, and just listen to the guides and all their bush experiences. And then we go to Victoria Falls. This is a magnificent place to be. And you walk next to the falls like this dotted line on the left. They call it the forest. And it's a guided tour. So usually you arrive the following morning, you go on this guided tour. And so people ask me, so when is the best time to go to the falls? And I say, well, it depends what your client wants to do. And then say, well, if I look at this, you know, I don't want to go when there's no water, like November as an example, because how am I going to see the falls? And then I say, well, I was in November and I took this photo and it was lovely because I could see the falls. You are still mist, you still get your moonbows and rainbows and all of that. And it creates opportunity for different activities. Like this very brave lady overlooking the falls, she is brave. That's on the Zambia side. And on the bottom right, where it says Zambia pools, that's exactly what's happening there. So at a certain time of the year, the water levels are approved that people can go swim in this pool. Of course, there are guides and you're under the guidance of them, but you jump in this water and you sit on the rim of the fall, and if you're very brave, yeah, your clients can do that. But there are fun activities like the river rafting. Usually people arrive midday. That afternoon they go on a Zambezi cruise. You see elephants, hippo, and a couple of other animals. Next morning you do the falls. You can do the flight of angels. But now you're already educated. You can see this flight of angels was in April because of all the mist going up. You know that this Zambia pools was in the drier months. So you're already there now. And so there's much to do. There's not only the falls. You have your elephant art safari, where a local artist just sit with your client and say, paint your own picture. Don't buy one in Africa. Create your own and take it back home. Of course, there is the safari train that you can have your 5-course meals, and in the evening, the Boma drum dinner show. And that is a highlight. People love it. You eat, you dance, they paint your face, you play the drums. It's quite a lot of fun to be there. And so that wraps it up. And I am going to ask, so who ready to go on safari and book safari? And I'm sure these fellows are. And so thank you very much for your time. And hopefully I inspired you a little bit about Africa today, and a very quick orientation. What is there, what you can do, and all your options. And there's no such thing as a preset itinerary. Please remember that. Everything is customized to your client's desires. So thank you very much. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Gil. That was some great information. I am ready to go to Africa. I need that safari. Yes. So we're going to open it up to people to type in the chat box if they have any questions so we can get those answered. And I'm going to go and look and see if we have anything. Come on, Kristen, go on your own trip. Book it. Okay, right now I don't have any. I have a lot of thank yous, great information. I have no questions right now. Great information. I have one. Do we have to register with a supplier to book through you?
No need. You can contact us. Hopefully you saw the details there, and we will work with you. So no need to go through lengthy, cumbersome processes. We are customer orientated and want to make it as easy as possible for you.
Okay, so do they register or they just call you directly?
They can call us directly. We will register them on our system and we take it from there.
Okay. Okay, let's see. How much do you guys pay for commissions?
It's 15% for all land arrangements, 15.
Okay, 15%, you guys. Does your company offer gorilla tracking?
Yes. As I said, Africa is 4 times the size of the US. So to cover everything, we can sit here 10 days. I would love to share so many beautiful stories about my personal experiences with gorilla tracking. But the short answer is yes, we offer both in Rwanda and in Uganda. And that usually is a 3-day extension when people are on safari in either Tanzania or Kenya.
Okay. Can you please share your contact information with us?
Sure, I'll put it in the chat box, my email address, so anybody is then welcome to reach out to me, and if that is acceptable.
Okay, that's fine. And also, is there a base price for the safaris, or do they all, is there a base price for the safaris and them all excursions are separately priced? So is it a separate price for each excursions that you pick?
No, it's all inclusive. So to explain that a little bit better, so when we do the program with you, your itinerary, the price you get will be all inclusive. And we don't want to hassle people a little bit here, a little bit there. It just overcomplicates things.
Okay, then I have another one says, when is the best time to travel as far as weather?
Great question. You know, people always associate Africa with seasonality. And there's a general perception that the high season is from June to September, because you know it's drier months, you see your animals better, and that is not true. With the change in environment of service delivery, thinking of Sabi Sands as an example in the Greater Kruger, you can go off-road with the guides. So even if there are greener grass, they can go off-road closer to the animals to have a look. So no, there are definitely areas like Egypt, there are months that's hot. You want to avoid that, of course. As I explained under the Great Migration, it depends where they are. But as from a weather perspective, I would say there are very few months from an Africa context that it is inaccessible.
Okay. And I have another one that says, oh, they're coming in now. Let me go back up. Is there vaccinations besides COVID that you must get to go to Africa?
Great question. It depends where you go. So if you would go to South Africa, the answer is no. If you go to East Africa, there are countries that say they require a yellow fever certificate. So it's very country dependent. And so happy to answer that on outside this platform to go through each country. But so yes, you can go to Africa, experience safaris without the additional vaccination requirements.
Okay, great answer. Another one is, will we be able to offer payment plans to our clients, or is payment due at the time of booking?
Great question. Great question. I really want to pause there for a moment. That's exactly what we did as your tour operator over the past year. We filtered suppliers with stringent booking conditions that we do not feel comfortable with, because things change. It's reality. So when you have clients that say, I want to go on safari, we will pick suppliers where we say, okay, we don't have to make a booking today. We don't have to pay a deposit today. We can pay it closer to the time. If your clients say, I want to stay at the following lodge, we will go back and say, okay, it's completely acceptable, or they have very, very strict T&C conditions to be mindful of. So the short answer is no, highly unlikely. Final payment usually due 65 days before departure.
Okay, and then I have another one. Do you offer health or travel insurance, or is that a separate fee?
That is a separate fee. We associate it with TripMate. Those familiar with TripMate, we also have TravelX, and so there is a link and on our website. And so besides that, if you do engage with the booking agents, they will give you all the options, what will work for your clients, and even help you through the process.
Okay, and also we have one, will tourists be around any of the political issues that may be going on in Africa?
Another good question. Africa is big. There are some countries with very negative news, of course. And so therefore we specialize in certain regions. And there are some countries we simply do not touch for obvious reasons, safety and other concerns. That being said, let's take South Africa as an example. I could have picked anyone. Yeah, there is always an issue here, there's an issue there. The benefit traveling with us, with the staff there, we will advise. Here's an example. I like real examples because that is fact. That's not stories, fact. So we prepared the itinerary for a travel advisor. She has a group of about 25 people going next year. And so we did this beautiful itinerary. We were all happy. And a month or two later, and it happened now, they came back and say one of the destinations on the itinerary is not recommended for reasons, not on quality of the lodge. It was other reasons. So what we did, we went back forth and we find an alternative location. We sent an email to the agent and say, okay, we're going to change for the following reasons. In fact, this is going to be an upgrade. The difference is $90, 90 per person. However, we will absorb this cost because we value your business. So we are very tuned in as to what is happening every single day in the destinations.
Okay, great, thank you. And I have one that says, do we have new information that can be emailed if we wanted to do a mock booking?
Do we have new information?
Yes.
In what context? I just want a bit more clarity on the question.
I would think, do we have like brochures that we can have that we can kind of like sell to our clients to show them what you guys offer?
Oh, of course, absolutely. So there's a couple of options. We do have brochures, yes. Also, if you have clients in mind that wants to do a specific itinerary, we work with you on that itinerary. You say, okay, they want to go do X, Y, and Z. We prepare it. We prepare the flyers. We prepare the marketing material. You present it to the clients. And of course, hopefully that turns into business. If you wish to have an event, whether it's online, in the old days it was in person, but of course we adapted a little bit. But even online now, we set up a event, and like this one today, we promote that specific itinerary for the group of clients they have. So yeah, that is absolutely possible to do.
Okay, wonderful. Okay, I don't see any more questions. Yes, Alicia. I don't see any more questions, and I want to say thank you so much, Bill, for your time and a great information. I think we do have your contact information, so we will be able to share that with the people that's on the line. And if we don't have any more questions, we're going to go ahead and let everybody go. So on behalf of our 1-star platinum pineapple, Mrs. Nina Jackson Mitchell, and the Elite Group, we would like to appreciate you guys for joining us on this training. Enjoy the rest of your day. And this training call is officially over.